Today, we are diving into an incredible story about turning a regular language class into, well, a class about life. It's all about how students can learn not just to speak a new language, but to really feel, to connect, and, to act with empathy. Okay, let's get into this.
So let me just start with this question for you. What if an English class could be something more? More than just grammar, vocabulary lists, and how to structure a sentence.
What if it was the one place in the entire school day where students actually learned how to connect with themselves and with each other? A place where they learned to care and where that feeling of care actually pushed them to take real, meaningful action. That's the powerful idea we're going to unpack today. To even get there, we've got to first rethink what language is all about. We have to see it as more than just words on a page. It's something much, much deeper. You see, what's so cool about this whole approach, which was developed by a teacher named Tony, is this one core belief. Language is an emotional medium, right? It's how we express everything: joy, fear, empathy, hope. And that makes the English classroom the absolute perfect laboratory for students to explore their own inner worlds and to start understanding the worlds of others.
So how do you actually build this kind of thing into a curriculum? Well, the answer is in a framework called social emotional learning, or you'll hear it called SEL for short.
Okay, so SEL isn't just about, managing your feelings. It's this really powerful framework that intentionally weaves feelings, personal values, and the power to actually do something, what we call agency, directly into academic subjects. The whole goal is to help students become more empathetic, responsible, and just better at working together.
And SEL is built on 5 core ideas or competencies. It all starts with self-awareness, just knowing what you're feeling. From there, you get to self-management, which is learning how to handle those feelings. Then you can develop social awareness, understanding what other people are feeling. And that naturally leads to relationship skills, interacting in a positive way. The whole thing builds up to this final step: responsible decision-making, where you take everything you know and feel and turn it into thoughtful, ethical action.
All right, so theory is great, but let's see what this looks like when the rubber meets the road. We're going to look at how this whole framework comes to life through 2 really powerful real-world case studies from Tony's classroom. This slide just lays out the framework's flexibility perfectly. I mean, look at this. On one hand, you've got the Julian flood, a huge disaster that made students reflect on their own feelings of helplessness. That lesson was all about self-awareness and self-management. Then, on the other hand, you have a viral news story about a fight over a priority seat on the train, and that became a lesson in social awareness and relationship skills, digging into a real-world social conflict. So in the wake of that terrible flood, students felt completely overwhelmed. The lesson wasn't just about reading the news. They actually used something called an emotion wheel to put English words to their complex feelings, like worried, powerless, sad. Then they practiced calming sentences, things like, "It's okay, I cannot be there. I can still care in my own way." And here's the crucial part. This whole process guided them from feeling totally powerless to taking small but real positive actions, like writing cards of encouragement. And that right there, that gets to the absolute heart of this whole philosophy. It's not about making some big formal gesture. The goal is to nurture authentic, genuine care that leads to real, tangible action, no matter how small it might seem. Okay, now this is where it gets really fascinating. How do you scale this kind of deeply personal teaching? The answer, and this might surprise you, is artificial intelligence. And not to replace the teacher, but to act as a kind of creative partner. This entire AI-powered project started with just a single real-life event. The teacher, Tony, saw a young woman who was lost, walking barefoot, totally confused. He just stayed with her until the police could arrive. This really powerful human moment became the raw material for the AI. So what was the first step? He fed that story to an AI and asked it to write a reading text that his English language learners could understand. Just like that, the AI took his raw, emotional experience and turned it into a clear, simple story they could actually use as a teaching tool in the classroom. But wait, it didn't stop there. Not even close. He prompted the AI to try and capture the feeling of that story in a song. And this is what it came up with: a totally original, emotional song called Long Road Home. It literally translated the core emotions of that event, empathy, worry, relief, into a completely new work of art.
And this just perfectly illustrates the power of AI as a sort of empathy engine. From that one true story, it created not just a text and a song, but also discussion questions, role-playing dialogues, and even a full script for a short film. It took one single moment of human connection and multiplied its educational power 100 times over. It's incredible.
So the most important point is this. This isn't just one teacher's amazing, unique project. It's a model that really anyone can adapt. So let's look at a practical framework for how you could bring this into any classroom.
This slide just lays it all out so clearly. Let's break it down. For self-awareness, you could have students keep a weekly emotion journal in English. For social awareness, you could role-play different social situations. And for responsible decision-making, you can use simple English to talk about ethical dilemmas, like, what do you do if you find a lost wallet? See, these are small, easy activities that weave SEL right into your teaching, your class management, and of course, language practice. And this brings us right back to the core message of this whole thing. This entire educational journey is built on a simple but really powerful idea. It starts with emotion. Because we feel, we learn to care. And because we care, we're moved to act. That's the transformation we're really talking about here. So the final takeaway isn't really a statement. It's a question for all of us, whether we're teachers or parents or just people who care. In a world that desperately needs more empathy and connection, how will you use the tools you have, whether it's language or technology or just your own stories, to start the conversation?